Thank you, Mr Speaker. It is a pleasure to speak during the second reading of the Christ College Canterbury Amendment Bill, and I must pay respect to all those that have gone before me speaking, and in doing so I also want to recognise those families in North Canterbury, which is the bottom end of the Kaikoura electorate, that still to this very day seek out such colleges to send their children to, and no doubt form part of those bequests that have brought about the situation that we are now confronted with regards to this particular bill. I also want to thank the Select Committee for their diligence, and there's no doubt about it. The advice that was taken and applied to this legislation here in Clause 4 is very appropriate. And if you just turn your mind back to the earlier part of the legislation in Clause 3 about the charitable purposes, one comes to understand just how important it is to tie things in a seemly way, and I'm quite confident that the integrity of the trustees and the principals and teachers at Christ College will stick very much to that theme. One has to marvel, Mr Speaker, at the strength of the old boys network that emanates out of Christ College, and there is no doubt a very strong connection with those families to ensure that this particular bill will not be abused. When you think about the time that Christ College has been in existence, one might think that some 100,000 pupils have gone through that school, that college, but in actual fact it's 13,000 pupils or around about there that have gone through, and presently today there is some 660 students at that college. There's 220 boarders that live there and no doubt travel all over the country to get there, and there's 440 day boys as they're described. As a college they certainly measure up well with regards to any other schools throughout the country. They were a product of the Anglican settlement of Canterbury in the 1851s, and in fact when you look around the building that we have today here in Parliament, it dates from the very beginning of our democracy. So a great history there in Christ College, and it's one that we are particularly proud of. When we look at the structure around the philanthropy that has been displayed towards Christ College, one understands that it would be it's sensible and pragmatic, this solution that we are dealing with here, because there was 28 trusts, and when you stop and consider the means or the vehicle that the Charitable Trust Act provides, the Charitable Trust Act of 1957, we find that there is a provision there, Mr Speaker, to seek a variation from the original trust deed, but that would be require them to go to the High Court for that approval, not just once for the 28 times, but once for each variation to each trust deed. So one would be required to effectively seek 28 High Court decisions with regards to getting the changes that are necessary. So it is with great pleasure that I see Dr Hutchison arrive. and on that basis, Mr Speaker, I have great passion and enthusiasm for the Christ College Canterbury Amendment Bill to proceed. Thank you very much.
Members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Christ College Canterbury Amendment Bill, second reading.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. Call on private and local